Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Coach Besaw, and I'm going to talk to you about how to simplify RPOs in your offense. So, if you're a coach and you're struggling with RPOs, whether you're having a hard time installing them or maybe your kids are having a hard time executing them the right way, I hope this video is going to be able to help you out because it's all about how to simplify your RPOs. So, you're really going to see maybe you need to take a step back, scale it back just a little bit. And I think if you implement what I'm going to show today, you'll definitely have success with this style of RPO. So let's get right into it. Okay, so what I'm going to show you today, Coach, the first thing I'm going to show you is a breakdown from Alabama last week against Notre Dame in the semifinal game. Now, this is, of course, my opinion on what Alabama was doing and obviously what I think they're trying to get accomplished. Looking back at that game against Notre Dame, I was pretty surprised at how simple some of the concepts that they had just within the first two drives of that game. If you watch that game again and you just look at their first two possessions, you're going to see a lot of these different concepts come up in those first two possessions. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is it's not the post-snap traditional RPO that you most likely are thinking of when you hear RPO. And most likely see when you're watching football on Saturday and sometimes Sunday. So I'm not going to be talking about the post-snap where the quarterback is at the mesh point and he's reading a conflict player. That's not what I'm going to go over today. What I'm going to go over is the pre-snap RPO. So the decision for the quarterback whether to throw the football or give the football in the run game is based on his look that he gets from the defense before the ball's even snapped up. And that is what I saw Alabama do in that game against Notre Dame. In those first two possessions, I think I probably counted at least maybe 7 different times they ran these pre-snap RPOs. So I'm going to break down one that, again, my opinion of what I think Alabama was doing on offense and what Notre Dame was doing on defense. And then I'm going to show you how I do it within my own offense. And I think that might be able to help you maybe scale it back with the RPOs if you're struggling with that post-snap stuff. Maybe look at doing more pre-snap stuff. So here's Alabama, I think maybe early in the first quarter. They're in their 11 personnel package here. They've got tight end and a wing position. They've got 2 receivers to this side of the field. They're inverted. This is to the boundary here. So the ball's on the right hash, maybe near the right hash, and they got 1 receiver to the field. Okay. Now, defensively with Notre Dame, what I think Notre Dame was trying to do defensively, and I haven't watched a lot of Notre Dame football, but against Alabama, what I think they were trying to do is they were trying to get 7 hats in the box no matter what. Obviously, you got studs up front with Alabama, just guys that absolutely maul people. You got Najee Harris in the backfield. Notre Dame was, in my opinion, was thinking put 7 hats in the box, at least always have 1 more hat defensively in the box than Alabama has offensively to either pass protect or block. Okay? And I think they're just going to try to take their chances with Mac Jones being able to beat them with his arm, and he actually ended up doing that. But you'll see here they got 7-man box, kind of the inverted safety look, and sometimes they showed 2 high, but I think at the end of the day they wanted to get to 1 high. So if they showed 2, they were somehow rotating to get to 1 and play in their cover 3 stuff. And so if we look at this play here, they're formation to the boundary, and they are going to bring their number 1 receiver, and they're going to bring him in orbit motion. And as he's coming in orbit motion, what Mac Jones is doing, because this is a pre-snap read, what he's going to be doing is he's going to get his eyes on the back end of the defense here. So he's looking at the secondary, the linebackers, the safeties over the top, and what he's looking for is how are these guys adjusting to the motion that is coming behind me. Alabama ran this type of motion a ton of times throughout the game, and I really think that's exactly what they were trying to do is they were trying to figure out, the coaches were trying to figure out what is Notre Dame going to do with this type of motion. Sometimes it led to RPOs, pre-snap RPOs, post-snap RPOs. Sometimes it was eye candy to run the football the other way. So what happens here when they're bringing in orbit motion, again, Mac Jones is trying to get his eyes on the back end of the defense. A few things that they could do, and the first thing that they could do is they could just bounce these linebackers over. Okay, you know, Will comes here, and really they're just kind of moving over one spot. So the Will is here now, the Mike becomes here, and the Sam comes into the box. And really what they would give is a 6-man box. And I don't think Notre Dame wanted to play with a 6-man box. So they weren't bouncing backwards. And so what I think they were doing is they were rotating their safeties with the coverage. So a lot of the times they would rotate at the top of this here. And that's exactly what they did on this play. So as orbit motion came, this inverted safety who is down starts to rotate to the field. Now, the only problem is it was a pretty weak rotation. It wasn't convincing that he was going to be getting into this kind of curl flat area where I think he's responsible for. If they're getting to a one high look, then to me that shows that they want to play some type of cover three with him rotating hard to the motion to the field. He should be, in here responsible for that curl flat area. Well, he really didn't end up getting there or nowhere close to it. He was about maybe 10 yards off the ball and still probably close to the tackle box here. And so as this motion came through, Mac Jones sees that, and he sees that he still has a lot of space out here. What they're doing with this motion is they're just going to extend him, and they're running what I call a bubble route. So he's just running a bubble screen. He's going to get his number one receiver. He's going to push on the corner to try to get him into the pedal, and then he's going to block the most dangerous man, and I think it actually ends up becoming that safety who comes down pretty hard. Okay, so that's kind of the look pre-snap of what Mac Jones is trying to see. And then in the run game, what they're doing is they're going to run wide zone to the right. Okay, so they're running wide zone to the right, and they're going to use their tight end to protect the backside C gap here. So he's going to get that kind of split zone action, if you will, and he's going to protect the backside C gap. And then everyone else is going to be running wide zone to the right. And again, the only problem with this is Notre Dame's got 7 hats in the box versus Alabama's 6 hats. So they've got a +1 man advantage in the run game. And obviously there's one guy that Alabama can't block, and that's going to be this Sam backer right here. Fortunately for Alabama, pretty weak rotation, and this safety was out-leveraged to the field, right? Okay, he never got in a position to be able to take this threat away from Alabama. And so what I think Alabama was trying to do, you see here with this formation here, what I think Alabama was really trying to do is they were trying to formation Notre Dame into the boundary. They knew they were going to get a loaded box. Formation Notre Dame into the boundary. Get all of Notre Dame's numbers into the boundary, thinking that your strengths to the boundary, you're going to run to the boundary. And what they were really trying to do is put their strength over there so they can bring this guy in motion and attack them where they are weak. Okay? And so that's really ultimately what I think Alabama was trying to do offensively. And it worked out because they did not adjust very well to that motion. And pre-snap for Mac Jones was he's got a ton of space out here. He's got leverage on this receiver here, on this safety with weak rotation. And he's got this receiver who can block one of these guys, right? One guy's going to be open, and Alabama's taking the chances that you're not going to make an open field tackle on our athlete in space, and that was actually the case. He caught the football, and he made about 8-9 yards out of it. Okay, so that's just one little breakdown right there. Now, in your offense, you can, if you want to keep this as a pre-snap read, and let's say you have a mobile quarterback that you like to run with. You want to get your quarterback involved in the run game, and you don't want to be kind of caught if they take this away from you with hard rotation and still maintain a 7-man box. Well, now you're kind of screwed. They've taken the bubble away from you. They didn't get out leveraged, but then they also have one extra hat in the box to defend the run. Well, with a mobile quarterback, instead of using this tight end to come back and protect the C gap, you can use him on the front end of this play now. Okay. So now you can use him in this wide zone look where he is going to reach for that Sam linebacker who is just outside the box here. So what they've been able to do is you've been able to use your 6 guys up front to block the defense's 6 guys in the box. Then your quarterback is going to read the 7th there. Okay, so that's one thing that you can do. Maybe one adjustment with Alabama, although I don't think they love Mac Jones running the football. But that's one thing that you can do in your offense if you do have a mobile quarterback and you want to get him involved in the run game. And if you are getting that rotation where they are taking that away from you, you don't want them to take both options away from you. So this will allow you to still equate the numbers in the box. Now, if you want to even add a layer onto that, okay, let's say he chases the running back on wide zone, and the quarterback gets the read to keep the football, he's going to rip and run. Then you can add another layer of option football, and then you can read this weak side safety who's rotating down, who's eventually going to be that pitch man. And then this becomes triple option. So if he stops the quarterback, then he dumps the bubble. Hey, if he widens with the bubble, then your quarterback can continue, get his foot in the ground, and get north. So that's just kind of an extension, I guess, maybe another layer of what Alabama could do if they had a more mobile quarterback, but certainly what you could do in your offense if you have a quarterback that you like running the football with. So that's just, again, my opinion of what I think Alabama was trying to do against Notre Dame and the adjustments that they were making and how they were trying to attack them in that semifinal game. So now I'll look at kind of showing you what I like to do with these pre-snap RPOs, and I'll just start in a basic 2x2 look. Okay. And we'll just stick to our 10 personnel. And we'll keep that same front. And we'll go too high here. So we talk about pre-snap RPOs in our offense. When I talk with my quarterbacks, there's really three things that our quarterbacks need to be able to do is before the ball is snapped. And the first thing that they need to do is they need to be able to, one, count the numbers in the box, okay? They need to be able to count the numbers in the box. We have 5 guys, and when we get into this look here, 2x2, we've got 5 guys to block. We need to be able to count how many numbers they have in the box. If they have 6 numbers in the box, then we still have the option to be able to run the football because I'm a spread option guy. So we're going to be reading, most likely in this example, it's going to be a first level defender. So we're going to read this defensive end. So if they have 6, we have 5, we're still okay to run the football. So we've got to be able to at least count to 6 when we're in this look here. The next thing that we look for is the depths of the corners. So where are their corners playing at? And for me, the depth that I work at is right at 7 yards. Okay, so if we just draw our line, right at 7 yards, let's just maybe put this corner down here, just for this example, corner up there. Okay, so we always look at corners at 7, and that will really help us with our quick game and our decisions on where to go with the football in our quick game when it comes to our outside receivers. So for us, if corners are off beyond 7 yards, then we feel like we can throw anything underneath that's that depth, whether it's a hitch, an out, a little quick screen out there. We feel like we can take advantage of that flat area, okay? If he's under, well, then that's taken away from us. Then we feel like we can get over the top with our vertical stuff, okay? So that's what we work at. We work at depth of 7 yards on the corners. And then the next thing that I talk to the quarterbacks is the alignment of the apex defenders. Where is the apex defender, or where are they at on the field? Okay, do we have leverage on the apex defender with our slot receiver? Where's he lined up? We got to know where that guy is at. So with this example here, when we get a 6-man box, okay, in a too high look, then the defense can only have one apex defender, and that is this guy right here. Okay, so let's just say with this pre-snap RPO, we're going to run our quick game on the outside. Let's just say we're going to run hitches as far as this pre-snap RPO. So everyone's going to be running hitches here. Okay, we run our hitches at 5 yards. Okay, so we'll run 5-yard hitch, and with him, because he doesn't have an apex, he's got this will backer, we want to run our hitch away from him. So we're going to stem out just a little bit and just kind of run to space. Our corner is also going to run his 5-yard, or number 1 receiver is going to also run his 5-yard hitch with that corner there. Okay, now with our pre-snap RPO, we can really attach it to any type of run game that we want. Alabama ran it with wide zone. They ran it with inside zone. You can run it with counter tray, zone read. You can run it with power. Really, you can run it with anything because it's not a traditional post-snap RPO where your quarterback is going to go to the mesh point. This is a pre-snap decision that your quarterback is going to make. Is he going to throw the football based on the look that he gets from the defense, or is he going to hand the football and you run the scheme that's called? So for this example, let's just do counter tray to the right. Okay. So if we go counter tray to the right, I'll draw my center line here. So our center is going to block the first guy back from that center line. We're going to double the 3 technique here with our guard and tackle, and they're going to work all the way back to the first linebacker behind that center line. Our guard's going to kick out the DN, and then we're going to wrap for the Mike there. Okay? Our quarterback is going to be reading this defensive end. But again, that doesn't come into play unless our quarterback kills the pre-snap pass option in this concept here. Our footwork here is the same as if we were just running inside zone read. Okay, so in the backfield it stays the same. Now, going through the mindset of the quarterback and kind of what he should be looking for right here. So numbers in the box. We've got 6 guys in the box. Okay, we're reading the 6th defender. So we're good there. If we need to run the football because we don't like the pass options, we can run what we've got called. Okay, the next thing we look at is depths of corners. Okay, well, we've called all hitches. And on this side of the field, we have a corner who is under 7. So for the quarterback's read, that should tell him, I can't throw the football here. Okay, going to the right side of the field, corner's above 7. Okay, he's at 7 or 8, anything above 7. Okay, so for us, that should be an option to be able to throw the football there. Okay, next is the apex defenders. Where are the apex defenders? How are they aligned? Okay, right now we've got apex defender right here on our number 2, sitting right where we would run our hitch. Okay, so we're running to coverage, and so that should tell the quarterback that that's not an option. Okay, on this side of the field, on this slot, we don't have the apex defender. They're in a too high look. So it really depends on kind of where this backer is playing right now. If he's really tucked inside the box, then we should be throwing this route all day long. If he's stacked or maybe hipped, then it might tell the quarterback, okay, I don't think I can fit it in there, and maybe we just run the ball. Okay, but for right now, pre-snap read, just stacked or inside a little bit, that's also an option for our quarterback to go to. Okay, so again, there's the pre-snap read for the quarterback making a decision. Where does he go with the football in the pass game? If he likes it, he's going to throw it. Okay, so if he likes those 2 hitches, throw it. If you don't like it, then you go with your run scheme, and we just run counter trade to the right, and we read this defensive end. Okay, just like we do in inside zone read. Now, if you're wondering in the backfield, if you're a right-handed quarterback, throwing the football to the right with a back on the left who's going to cross face is not a problem because he's turning away from the back and he's going to throw it. He's got free access to throw it to the right side of the field. There can be a little bit of an issue, though, with a right-handed quarterback trying to throw to the left side of the field with the back who's going to cross his face. So if you are having issues with that, there's a few things that you can do to handle that. The first thing that you can do is you can put it on your quarterback and you can tell him that he's got to clear out and get out of the way of the mesh. So it could be something where he steps left, right, and then throws. So he's kind of taking 2 quick drop steps, if you will, to clear out, let the mesh clear out so then he can throw the hitch to the left side of the field. If you don't like that, then another thing that you can tell these 2 in the backfield to do, and which we've done, is if the quarterback wants to throw it and the back is in his way, just tell the back that you're throwing the football. Hey, I'm throwing it here. I'm throwing it. And then what that does is we just have our back step up and get out of the way. It's dead. We're not going to the mesh point. The quarterback's already made that decision. And so the back knows he's not going to get the football no matter what because it's a pre-snap quick game throw, a pre-snap read. So he gets out of the way, and that gives free access for the quarterback to be able to throw the football there. Another thing that you can do, and we've also done, and really doing all 3 of these is good just because it really breaks up any tendencies that you have, is if the pre-snap read takes the quarterback to the left side of the field, the quarterback can simply tell the running back to move. So he's about ready to start his cadence. He's got his look. He wants to throw to the left. He can just lean over and say move, and that back will just come over here, and now he's on that side of the field. And again, he's got free access to throw the football to the left side to the hitch in the slot there. Okay, so that's how we usually get to our pre-snap RPOs, 2x2 set. What we do is we like to attach our quick game to it, and then really we can do any type of run scheme that we want depending on the looks that we get from the defense. But really the options are endless, and it really makes it simple for a quarterback because it's a pre-snap read. And those are things that you should be working pretty much every day in practice with your quarterbacks in the quick game is the pre-snap read and understanding where that football should go in quick game depending on what the defense gives. Okay, I'll just jump to a 3x1 look, kind of give you my favorite. And if you've been on the channel before, you've seen some of the videos, you probably kind of maybe already know where I'm going to go with this. But with 3x1, we also look at the same thing. We look at the box, we look at the depth and the alignment, but we also want to look at the numbers advantage that we have in our 3x1 stuff. So if we're 3x1 here and we're getting the same look, okay, so if we get that look here, well, depth of corner, let's just say we're going to be running a bubble screen to the right here. Okay, for us, the depth of the corner honestly doesn't really matter to me when we're going bubble, because I expect our guys to be able to block that and be able to handle that corner. But what we do here is we're going to run bubble to the right, and you can see that we've got leverage here, but most importantly, we've got the numbers to this side of the field. Okay, we've got 3 here. They've got 2 guys that are somewhat of a threat to us, right? And what we'll do is we'll just block this 2 for 2 on the out, and then this safety over the top is going to be expected to make an open field tackle. Okay, we'll run inside zone to the left. Okay, and then on the backside here, we can pretty much attach any type of quick game that we want, depending on what we think we're going to get from this corner. So if he's a corner and he's always pressed up, then maybe we call vertical a go route from our single receiver. If he's off, then it might be a hitch route, okay, or an out route. Really depends on what you want to do. But again, you have the freedom to attach any type of quick game that you want based on what you see defensively. And again, we're going to run inside zone here, okay? Now, one thing that the defense may do that could cause a little bit of an issue is with this apex defender, and he aligns, kind of outside eye of the number 2 receiver there. Now, that right there kind of takes away some leverage if you're going to be running the bubble route. Well, even though he does that, that doesn't mean you have to shit can the bubble and you can't throw it anymore. There's an easy adjustment that you can make to still protect this receiver here who's going to be running the bubble. And for us, we work on it so much, we don't really have to signal this in. Our kids kind of just know it. And they know to make this adjustment. And what we're going to do is we're going to cross block with our number 1 and number 2 receivers. So now number 1 is going to be responsible for this apex defender since he's out leveraged our number 2. So he's going to be over the top. He's going to seal off that apex. And then number 2 is going to come underneath that block, and he's going to work for the corner. Okay, and what we like to get is this nice alley right here so that when our receiver catches the football with his upfield pad, he's able to maintain his momentum down towards the line of scrimmage, and he's able to run right through that alley right there. Okay, so just some very simple examples of these pre-snap RPOs. If you watch that game last week, Alabama-Notre Dame, and you really take a look at Alabama's offense, I think you'll be surprised as I was when I saw how many pre-snap RPOs that they implemented and that they ran. I mean, with an offense like Alabama, the guys that they have on the field, the weapons that they've got on the field, and the coaching staff that they have, you would think that they're doing super tricky, complicated stuff. But really, they're not. It's a lot of simple concepts from a lot of different formations and personnel and motions, and really they're getting to what they're really good at. And that's what it's all about when you're running this kind of offense is knowing what you're really good at and having a bunch of different ways to get to it. And that will make it look like it's super complicated to a defense. And I think Notre Dame found that out last week in that game. So I hope you found this video useful. If you guys have any questions about these pre-snap RPOs, then please let me know. Leave a comment below. If you guys are running them, let me know how you guys are doing it, because I'd like to hear from you. If this video helped you out in any way, please give it a thumbs up. And then also don't forget to hit subscribe. Okay, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and then tap the bell next to it. That way you can get notified next time I come out with a video. Tonight's a big night, last day of college football. Got the national championship game, Alabama versus Ohio State. 2 big offenses going at it, so I'm really looking forward to that. I'm sure the other offensive coaches are as well. So thanks guys for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys on the next one.